Joining us, MS Now Washington reporter Jackie Alemany, co-host of The Weekend. She's at the White House, and former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance, an MS Now legal analyst. Jackie, first to you, the president is now saying Pulte is only going to be temporary in this role. Is that an acknowledgement that the administration believed his nomination wouldn't fly in the Senate? Because I had several Republican senators say to me, the guy's got no credentials.
Yeah, Allie, I think you're spot on there. I think it's also, even more broadly speaking, if you take a step back, an acknowledgement from the president that and his senior staff that if he wants to get a part of his agenda done the rest of this year before the November midterms, he's going to have to at least appease some of these Republican senators who have been extremely willing to harden their opposition to the president after he's sort of executed a spat of unpopular, controversial announcements and actions. Everything from the nomination of acting DNI Director Bill Pulte to the ousting of Bill Cassidy and John Cornyn to the Anti-Weaponization Act. These are all things that have incensed a lot of Republicans who in the past have sort of been able to work through some of their angst against President Trump. But now with one of the things at the top of the administration's to-do list being the reauthorization of a key government surveillance act. This is Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act that allows warrantless wiretapping. This isn't going to get done if Trump pushes Bill Pulte through and actually makes him names him as the permanent DNI director. And I think what you're seeing here is a realization of that. If there's any sort of deal that's going to be able to come through to reauthorize this.
And so Jackie Joyce is talking about how Pulte might be temporary, but that word sounds short and it might not actually be in time span. And when you put these dots together of the role that Tulsi Gabbard as DNI played, for example, going down to Fulton County, Georgia for that raid of the elections office there. And then you've got Trump now talking about, well, he'll be doing some work into rigged elections. I mean, what do you actually see happening here? And layer on top of it, the Substack piece that you wrote where you warned this ahead of the midterms. I'll read it in part. You said, quote, it's possible Pulte could aid with an agenda designed to ensure favorable outcomes, seizing ballots, even offering a rationale for canceling elections with claims of foreign interference.
You know, the DNI's job is not supposed to be primarily about domestic elections. This is part of the intelligence community, the president's top advisor on these issues. And that's why it's so concerning that Trump is saying the quiet part out here, acknowledging that Pulte really is in place, in essence, to cruise the assets of the intelligence community for inspiration about Trump's really very suppressive measures for the upcoming election. There's a statutory mechanism for replacing the DNI, and that involves putting their principal deputy in place. That's very important in this context because the DNI is one of the few jobs that by statute has a specific requirement. The DNI is supposed to be someone with deep experience in national intelligence and national security. That is not Pulte, who has zero experience. And he should have been replaced by Tulsi Gabbard's number 2. So that's the first red flag here. But this is always going to be a temporary appointment under the Vacancies Reform Act. An acting DNI can only be in place for a certain number of days. Trump has always pushed the limits using these sorts of acting appointments. But here it's clear that he's okay with that short term. He just wants to give Pulte the opportunity to go and take a look at intelligence that's being collected that might impact on the elections. And to the point that Jackie makes about 702 needing to be re-upped, of course, that permits warrantless collection on foreign targets, not on U.S. persons. But sometimes there's incidental collection under FISA provisions that does reach U.S. persons, people who have telephonic or email conversations with legitimate targets. The question is, what might Pulte do with Pulte do with that sort of information, having it at his disposal? This is just really a fishing expedition instead of a new DNI.